Just the concrete, right? This is just flat work?
There's some storm sewer in there.
Okay.
I think it shows in here somewhere.
I guess I'm just gonna ask the question, are these hangars still wanted?
Yep.
They are still wanted,
Yep.
okay.
They want to start them as soon as possible.
Okay.
And part of this project will be, well, I'll bring forward in May, at a May council meeting, the application to the state aviation under the DOT for some more funds for this project. That'll do a lot of the grading for not only the taxiway, but also for the spots where the hangars will be built. So.
Motion.
Go ahead.
I'll second if you want to go.
Motion approving professional services contract with Bolton and Menk for work on the taxiway to New Hangers project in the amount of $146,500.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action item E4, Overlook Addition Final Plat. On March 26, 2024, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the final plat of the Overlook Addition. The addition consists of 4 lots of multifamily development project of 92 apartments and 8 townhomes. The City Administrator and Planning and Zoning Commission recommend council approval.
I believe so.
Motion to adopt resolution 2417 approving the final plat of the Overlook Addition.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Pick.
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item E5, assistance request, Overlook Apartments LLC. Overlook Apartments LLC is proposing to construct an apartment community in the northwest part of Mars. They are proposing to construct 8 townhouse units and 92 apartment units. Overlook Apartments LLC is pursuing financial assistance for a portion of the cost of this project. As such, are requesting approval from the City of Mars to submit application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for funding through the Workforce Tax Incentive Program. Administration is recommending the city fulfill the local match through our urban revitalization plan tax exemption. The plan allows for 100% exemption of taxes on increased assessed value for the first 7 years on multifamily residences. The estimated total tax exemption amount is approximately $1,291,000 over the 7-year period.
Can I ask, what's the total gonna be investment of this project? Do you estimate like 2 million, 3 million? What's the total? I'm just curious.
According to their pro forma, $16.6 million.
So 16 million, okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna tail off of earlier discussion and purchase price as it regards to general fund and TIF fund.
Okay.
So do we get to keep a tally on our investment so that when, if I understand it correctly, when it's all said and done, the taxes are split amongst the general fund and the TIF, correct? Of the investment versus the new value. Am I right, Mark?
So once taxes are collected, it's in a TIF area, so those taxes would go to the TIF fund.
But only the improved. Right.
The improvement, correct,
The original, that's what I'm getting at, stays in the general.
in the general.
So if my total is $1 million,
Whatever it is,
yeah, whatever number, I just wanna know.
That
we
stays
keep-
in the general.
We keep a tally on that, so it stays in the general, correct?
Correct.
Great, that's all I wanted to know.
Do we know what the original was?
Well, it'll continue to compile,
Yeah,
because
when you,
you have the purchase price,
we've got, the assessor keeps the current assessed value. And we
Right.
get a tax statement every year, so your assessed value's already been established. And so LBIC is paying property taxes currently, and that'll continue. And then once it gets assessed at the new value, once the project is complete, then the new taxes will go into the TIF fund.
okay, but that's not but my question is, we just invested another $135,000 into the original.
Sure.
Is that part of the original, or is that part of the improvement?
That'll be part of the improvement. That'll
That
get
will be
paid
part
through
of
the
the
TIF.
improvement.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not trying to confuse anything. I'm just-
No,
I
fair
want-
questions.
I want clarity.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it gets submitted December 1st, that 135,000 will be listed there as a debt that we incurred, which we could claim TIF funds to reimburse ourselves.
Okay.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2418, approving the Workforce Housing Tax Incentive Program application to Iowa Economic Development Authority for the construction of multifamily housing by Overlook Apartments LLC.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Bruns,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to action item E6, water rate ordinance. Public Utilities Committee has been discussing the need to adjust water user rates due to the expenses related to the reverse osmosis MRO project. The city will bid the project this summer and will begin incurring construction and debt service costs. McClure Engineering Company, Inc. generated a user rate structure based on a $35 million project estimate. The rate structure specifies what rates need to be at the completion of the project to cover operational costs and debt service. Public Utilities Committee is recommending a four-step increase beginning July 1, 2024, and the final increase to happen July 1, 2027. The final increase may need to be adjusted once all final costs for the project are known. Attached are the recommended yearly rates and ordinance.
Jason, do we have a current, by chance from McClure? Because I know when we originally sat down on this project, and it's strictly memory, which isn't always that great, but it was around 20 million. And I know we added a water tower, we've added things and whatnot, but we weren't at this, which is a good thing, we weren't at this 35 million yet. Is there a current, the high 20s, mid 20s, where we're at on this project, Rich, do you know?
What the estimate cost is?
Yeah,
Between 33 and 35.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had gotten over 30, but, I'm glad it's based this high. These rates are based this high. And then, just to emphasize to the end users, yeah, we left the 27 increase to be floating, so it can compensate for increased or decreased costs of the final project, so good to point that out.
Yeah, so I think we change our ordinance to include that final year, but knowing that prior to that July 1, the project, according to the current schedule, should be done. And we should have a better idea of what the final cost will be.
Right.
So we may have to do a change in the ordinance to amend that final
Yeah.
year.
Could we add another year if we had to?
Oh, we can, yeah, just an ordinance change.
Just one more step up, because, it's a big investment, but it's necessary, so I'm just wanting some clarity. Motion to establish April 16, 2024 at 12 p.m. as a date and time for public hearing to amend Lamar's Code of Ordinances, section 92-02, water rate services.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Sewer rate ordinance. Public Utilities Committee has been discussing the need to adjust sewer rates due to the expenses related to the industrial pretreatment facility and the combined plant expansion projects. The city anticipates bidding and starting the pretreatment project this year and could begin incurring construction costs and debt service costs soon after. Bolton and Menk generated a user rate structure based on construction estimates, operation, and maintenance of the new facilities. That rate structure specifies what rates need to be at the completion of the project. Public Utilities Committee is recommending a 6-step increase beginning July 1, 2024, and the final increase to happen on July 1, 2029, or upon completion of the final project. Attached are the recommended yearly rates and ordinance.
Okay, same story. You can tell by the ordinance. Yeah, this one is a little bit longer because it's gonna take longer to build this type of thing, so it's spread out a little bit further. Same thing with the final year. You know, we'll adjust, we may have to adjust.
Yeah, this one is in steps, a couple of which have already started. And, you know, we've incurred, how much was, our, whatever, out there, 5 million? What do you call that? UV, our UV? Would that run about 5?
6 to 7.
6 to 7? And, I've been a proponent of tying these two together as far as timing goes, because we are going to start incurring a lot of expenses for both of these projects. And rather than changing every 6 months, water 6 months, and then sewer the next 6 months, and then water, just, these all happen simultaneously at the same time, so everybody can adjust that way. But, yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there, so. One other thing that I'd like to throw in there is I've sat on this for a long time with many hours in these meetings. And as far as the water rate increase, it's been explained to me that your average household, the savings they can realize in salt savings on their water softeners will more than pay for the increase in the rate, if they pay attention to that. And so people need to pay attention to that once this thing is up and running, so that's all I got.
Well, and the whole goal of the system is to keep the salt up, so we need them.
Absolutely. That is a big portion of it, is to cut down on the salt. Motion to establish April 16th, 24 at 12 p.m. as the date and time for public hearing to amend Lamar's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 99, sewer service charges.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action item E8, fiscal year 2024-2025 proposed budget. Attached is a public hearing notice of the proposed budget for fiscal year 25 using a levy rate of $12.78294. It currently shows total revenues of $26,562,421 and total expenditures of $26,707,924, excluding transfers. The Bowie Valley Healthcare budget of $65,500,000 is also included. Administration recommends council approve the fiscal year 25 proposed budget to be published and set a public hearing for April 23, 2024.
Motion to publish proposed 2024-2025 annual budget with a levy rate of 12.78294 and establish April 23rd, 2024 at 12 p.m. as a date and time for a public hearing regarding adoption of the fiscal year 24-25 budget.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have a lot of hearings coming up. Okay, discussion items. Jason?
All right, just a couple things. Earlier, we did the Lamar's pedestrian bridge, which was part of the transportation funds. We also submitted an application for a paving project, which was the 7th Avenue from 12th Street to 18th Street. That was approved also, but it was not approved at the requested amount. It was a requested 80%, which was roughly $968,000. Because of the amount of funds they had in the pool, they couldn't fully fund this one, but they funded it at a 60% rate, which is $726. So that's slated for fiscal year 28. So that one was approved. Secondly, this morning, staff met with the DOT and their contractors. There was a pre-construction meeting for the asphalt paving project of Highway 3. So as of now, that is anticipated to start April 15th with the contractor doing sidewalk ramps and concrete patchwork. And that runs from 5th Avenue to 14th Avenue, Jail Road. So April 15th to the end of May, you'll see that contractor in doing the sidewalks and the patches. And then June 17th, which is right after ice cream days, Barclay will come in and begin milling and painting asphalt. So there may be a few, there'll be uses of pilot cars, there'll be occasional detours set up, so just have to pay attention to signage. That was it.
Question on the last action item that we, the date of April 23, 2024, that's the 4th Tuesday, I believe. Is that on purpose?
Yep.
It's a special council meeting, just so to note that's for the tax levy.
That is on purpose, okay.
Not a typo. Right. Thanks for pointing that out.
Why is it?
That's just going off the guideline that the state made with the new.
For the
something
time,
published,
for
it's gotta be so
the
many days
timing?
and-
Yep.
Okay.
It has to be separate, right?
Well, the timing of it's gonna be separate. We'll get the publication 10 to 20 days out from the date of the hearing, so.
I'm curious.
Okay.
Yep.
Joe, you have anything?
Get done with the budget, we'll move right into amendments, so we'll have start working on budget amendments here shortly, so.
How was your first trip through the budget?
I'll learn some things that'll change next year.
Joe did a good job, so.
Yeah.
I concur. Mark?
I'm good.
Steve?
I'm okay.
I just have, real quick, to answer your question, Brian and Clark, 12/19 of 23, action item D7, LBIC request for assistance. That was where the $135,000 request for demolition payment was made, and the vote was 5-0.
Okay.
And then, since it is now April, our twig and branch and grass drop-off site is open Wednesdays from 1 to 6 and Saturdays from 9 to 4. The site is monitored by staff and they do a great job. Things go very smoothly out there. So And then get on your radar the spring cleanup where we have a, opportunity to use the landfill, at the cost of the city, not you, on May 11 and May 13 through 17. Is that right?
Some exclusions
The
apply.
11th is a Saturday, yeah.
And no more odd even parking as of April 1. Clark?
And Mark did say, and some exclusions apply on the landfill. I mean, just-
Yeah, there are some.
White goods.
Actually, I was gonna come back to a thumbs up and say Joe and Jan and Jason on the budget. Yeah, I mean, all my questions were answered. So I hope you got through it good and starting to feel at home a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Right?
Pass.
All right. Good. Anybody wish to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.